Empathic Manifestations, the bridge between feeling and creation. Introduction, the pulse of empathic manifestation. Empathy has long been misunderstood as merely an emotional response, a reflex of feeling others' joy, sorrow, or pain. Yet, beneath this surface understanding lies a force far greater than sentiment, a bridge between the seen and the unseen, between raw potential and manifestation. Empathy is not just about understanding others, it is the very mechanism through which reality is shaped. This book is not an intellectual exercise. It is a transmission, a remembering, a visceral activation that will awaken within you a knowing that has always been present but perhaps has yet to be fully realized. The words contained within these pages are not meant to be analyzed but felt, for they are encoded with the same essence that fuels the creative force of existence itself. Empathy is more than a reaction, it is a living current, an unseen language of creation. When fully harnessed, it is the most powerful tool for manifestation, a direct conduit to shaping reality, not through force, but through resonance. This book will take you beyond the common understanding of manifestation as a process of thoughts and intentions and reveal the deeper layer, the layer where feeling, unfiltered and aligned, moves through the unseen fabric of existence, bending reality toward coherence. To read this book is to embark on an experiential shift. It is not merely a collection of ideas, but an energetic alignment with a deeper truth, that your feelings, when fully harnessed and directed, are the most potent force of creation in the universe. The nature of empathy is a force beyond emotion. Empathy, as it is typically understood, is the ability to sense and experience another's emotional state. But this definition is limiting, for empathy is not simply a reactive phenomenon, it is a field, a force, a living current that extends far beyond human perception and into the very nature of reality itself. Empathy is not just about feeling others, it is about attuning to the essence of all things. It is the silent, underlying intelligence that connects everything, allowing us to perceive not just what is, but what is becoming. It is the force that allows us to step beyond our own immediate experience and into the collective field of creation. Consider this, if everything in existence carries an energetic signature, then empathy is the mechanism by which we interface with that energy. It is the bridge that allows us to merge with another being, another possibility, another reality. It is what allows us to feel the essence of an idea before it takes form, to experience the unmanifest before it emerges into tangible existence. Empathy is the original language of creation. Before words, before conscious thought, there was only resonance, an attunement to the frequencies that shape existence. This is why deep feeling, when unfiltered and unresisted, is the purest form of communication with the universe. Empathy is not just passive understanding, it is an active shaping force. It is the technology of creation itself, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be fully remembered. When you truly grasp the depth of this, you begin to see that manifestation is not just about directing thought or setting intentions. It is about attunement. It is about feeling as a living dialogue with the universe. It is about entering a state where your being merges with the reality you seek to create, where you no longer wish for something but become it before it arrives. This is the hidden potential of empathy, not just to feel but to shape. Not just to understand but to transform. It is the key to unlocking a reality that responds not to what you think you want, but to what you deeply embody. Manifestation through feeling, the unseen bridge between thought and reality. Manifestation has long been spoken of in terms of thought, visualization, and belief. But beneath these layers lies the deeper force, the realm of feeling. It is not your thoughts that shape reality, but the vibrational state you hold within you. Thoughts create structure, but feeling breathes life into that structure. Feeling is the language of creation. It is the bridge between the conceptual and the real, the unseen and the tangible. When you feel something with complete presence, you are not just experiencing an emotion, you are broadcasting a frequency. And that frequency does not simply remain within you, it resonates outward, shifting the very fabric of existence to align with it. This is why manifestation through feeling is far more powerful than manifestation through thought alone. Thought can be doubted, questioned, or fragmented. But feeling, when fully embodied, is undeniable. It is an unshakable resonance that aligns the external world to reflect its internal state. The greatest mistake most people make in manifestation is trying to force an outcome through effort rather than attuning to its essence through feeling. They attempt to think their way into a new reality rather than become it emotionally first. But reality does not respond to force, it responds to coherence. When your feeling state is in complete alignment with a desired reality, that reality has no choice but to materialize. This is why certain desires remain unfulfilled, because they are held at a distance, as something external rather than something already alive within. To manifest something through feeling, you must not simply want it, you must live in the emotional reality of already having it. Not as a trick or a method, but as a fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation is no longer something you do, it is something you are. You no longer send out requests to the universe, you become the signal itself. And in doing so, reality does not grant you your desires, it reflects them effortlessly, because there is no longer any separation between what you are and what you seek. Why this book is an activation, not just information. If you approach this book as mere knowledge to be absorbed, you will miss the deeper transmission it carries. This is not a guide in the conventional sense. It is an energetic blueprint, a resonance that will unlock something within you that has always been present but perhaps forgotten. These words are not meant to be passively read, they are meant to be felt. They are encoded with an intention to shift you into a new level of awareness, to move beyond theory and into direct experience. As you progress through these pages, you may begin to notice subtle shifts within you, an increased sensitivity to the energy of your emotions, a deepening awareness of the connection between your internal state and external reality, a recognition of how effortlessly things begin to align when you step into full emotional coherence. This is not by accident. The words in this book are not just concepts, they are keys, unlocking the latent ability within you to manifest through the deepest layers of feeling. Empathy is not just an emotional trait. It is the foundation of creation itself. And when you learn to use it, not as a passive response but as an active force, you will realize that the reality you have always longed for is not something to be sought, but something to be felt into existence. This book is not an instruction manual, it is an awakening, a transmission, a portal. Read it not with your mind, but with your entire being. For when you do, you will no longer be seeking to manifest reality. You will be becoming it. Part 1, The Essence of Empathic Manifestation. Chapter 1, The Sacred Sensory Field. Empathy as the gateway to creation. Empathy is not just an ability to feel what others feel, it is a portal, a gateway into the very mechanics of creation. To be deeply empathic is to be deeply attuned to the subtle architecture of existence itself. It is not merely a function of human interaction but a divine technology embedded within all living things, allowing us to experience, shape, and co-create reality. Empathy is the bridge between the observer and the observed. It dissolves the illusion of separation and reveals the interconnected web of being. When you feel another's sorrow as your own, when you are moved to tears by music, when you sense an atmosphere before a single word is spoken, you are engaging with a sacred sensory field, the vast, vibrational current that underlies all things. This field is not confined to human emotion. It is the very essence of manifestation itself. Every form, every structure, every moment of synchronicity is born from this field. To create, one must not think about creating but feel into creation. And this is where empathy transcends the realm of mere sentiment and enters the domain of energetic architecture. Empathy, when fully realized, is a tool of creation. When you tune into the vibratory signature of something, whether a dream, a vision, or an emotion, you begin the process of shaping it into reality. This is why manifestation does not work through thought alone. Thought is structure, but feeling is the raw energy that moves through the structure and gives it life. To be an empathic creator is to listen deeply, not just with your ears, but with your entire being. It is to attune yourself so fully to the frequency of what you wish to bring forth that you become indistinguishable from it. You do not create by forcing reality to bend to your will, you create by entering a state of resonance so deep that reality has no choice but to shift to meet you where you are. Empathy is the technology of God consciousness, the mechanism by which the universe experiences itself through infinite perspectives. When you enter into this sacred state, you are no longer a mere witness to existence, you become a sculptor of the unseen, shaping reality not through effort, but through presence. The difference between emotional reaction and pure empathic awareness. There is a fundamental distinction between emotional reaction and true empathic awareness. The former is conditioned, automatic, and often chaotic, while the latter is intentional, refined, and precise. Most people live in the realm of emotional reaction. They feel anger when provoked, sadness when abandoned, excitement when validated. Their emotions are tied to external triggers, and they fluctuate according to the movements of the outside world. This is not true empathy, it is reactivity, a passive response to stimuli rather than an active engagement with the field of feeling. Empathic awareness, on the other hand, is a conscious act. It is the ability to step into an emotion, not because it was triggered, but because you chose to engage with it. It is the practice of feeling something with full presence, without resistance, without distortion. It is the art of experiencing an emotion without becoming consumed by it. An emotional reaction is like a wave crashing upon the shore, sudden, forceful, and fleeting. Empathic awareness is the ocean itself, vast, steady, and all-encompassing. When you react emotionally, you are a prisoner to the moment. But when you engage with empathic awareness, you become a master of the moment. You learn to hold an emotion rather than be held by it. You move beyond being controlled by feelings and step into the role of one who works with feelings, shaping them like a sculptor molding clay. Pure empathic awareness is a form of energetic precision. It allows you to tune into the exact frequency of an experience without distortion. It is the ability to sense without assumption, to feel without projection, to merge with something without losing yourself in it. This is why some people drown in their empathy, while others use it to manifest reality. Those who are untrained in empathic awareness become overwhelmed by the emotions of others, mistaking them for their own. They absorb without filtering, and in doing so, they become lost in the currents of feeling. But the empathic architect, the one who understands the sacred sensory field, does not drown in the ocean of emotion. They become the ocean. They learn to flow through feeling rather than be engulfed by it. They master the art of stepping into an emotion fully, experiencing it in its purest form, and then releasing it just as easily. This is the key difference. An emotional reaction is involuntary. Empathic awareness is a choice. And in that choice lies the power to shape not only your inner world but the reality that surrounds you. Feeling as a form of energetic architecture. If empathy is the gateway to creation, then feeling is the very blueprint upon which reality is built. Most believe that structures emerge first in thought, then in action, and finally in form. But in truth, the first layer of creation is feeling. Feeling is the foundation upon which all else is constructed. The universe does not respond to ideas alone. It responds to vibrational frequency. And what determines frequency? Feeling. The emotional state you hold within you is the architecture upon which your external reality is constructed. Imagine that your emotions are the brushstrokes of an unseen artist painting the landscape of your life. Every feeling you deeply hold is a stroke upon the canvas of reality. If your emotions are chaotic, your painting is distorted. If your emotions are intentional, your painting becomes a masterpiece. This is why manifestation requires more than visualization. You cannot merely see something in your mind's eye and expect it to appear. You must feel it as though it already exists. You must hold the energetic architecture of it within your being so fully that the universe has no choice but to mirror it back to you. Many people fail to manifest because they attempt to construct reality from the mind alone, without integrating the architecture of feeling. They visualize abundance but carry the frequency of lack. They imagine success but feel unworthy of it. They attempt to build a structure on a foundation that does not support it. True manifestation occurs when your feelings become the home for what you seek. When you feel into something so deeply that it becomes as real as the ground beneath your feet, you are no longer seeking to manifest it, you have already made space for it. And in making space, you invite it into being. Feeling is not a passive state, it is an act of creation. It is the energetic blueprint that shapes what is to come. When you begin to master this, you no longer chase after things, you become the space in which things appear. You no longer beg for reality to shift, you become the shift. This is the secret of the sacred sensory field. You do not create by thought alone. You create by feeling first. You do not wait for reality to align with your vision, you align your feeling state with the reality you wish to step into. And when this alignment is pure, when it is unwavering, the world bends to meet you in perfect resonance. To feel is to build. To sense is to shape. To embody is to manifest. Empathy is not merely an experience, it is a technology. It is the force through which reality takes form, the bridge between what is and what is becoming. When you learn to move beyond reaction and into awareness, beyond chaos and into precision, beyond thought and into feeling, you step into the realm of the master architect. And from this place, there are no limits to what can be created. Chapter 2, The Physics of Empathy. How emotions shape reality at the quantum level. Emotion is not just an internal experience, it is a fundamental force that interacts with reality at the most subtle levels of existence. To understand this, we must step beyond traditional psychological models and into the realm of quantum mechanics, where observation and intention shape the physical world. In classical physics, reality is perceived as a fixed, objective structure, unaffected by human consciousness. But quantum physics shattered this illusion, revealing that at the most fundamental level, reality is not static, it is fluid, responsive, and intimately connected to the observer. This is the bridge where empathy and quantum mechanics meet. Both deal with the unseen forces that shape reality. Emotions are energy. This is not metaphorical, it is literal. Every emotional state carries a unique vibrational signature, a frequency that extends beyond the body into the surrounding field. This field is not just the individual aura, but the quantum field itself, a sea of potential that responds to the frequencies imprinted upon it. When an individual experiences a strong emotion, they are not just affecting their internal state, they are imprinting information into the fabric of reality itself. This is why intense emotions, love, fear, gratitude, anger, have such profound effects, not just on the individual but on the environment around them. The quantum observer effect demonstrates that reality is influenced by the mere act of observation. When an individual directs focused awareness towards something, the wave-like potential of reality collapses into a definite state. What most do not realize is that this effect is amplified when combined with deep emotional energy. The more emotion present, the stronger the imprint upon reality. This is why spontaneous manifestations often occur in moments of extreme emotional intensity. The charged energy of feeling acts as a catalyst, forcing the quantum field to respond. The key here is not just emotion itself, but the coherence of that emotion. Scattered, conflicting feelings create chaotic results. But emotions that are clear, undistorted, and fully embodied become precision tools for shaping reality. Empathy enhances this process. When you feel deeply into another's experience, you are expanding beyond your personal field and merging with the larger consciousness grid. This collective resonance amplifies the quantum effect, creating shifts that extend far beyond the individual level. It is through this mechanism that empathic beings unconsciously influence reality, whether they realize it or not. The lesson here is clear: emotions are not passive, they are active forces of creation. When harnessed with awareness, they become the most powerful tool for shaping reality at the most fundamental level. Energy transmutation, turning sensation into tangible change. Transmutation is the process of taking one form of energy and transforming it into another. In alchemy, this was often depicted as turning base metals into gold. But in the realm of empathy and manifestation, the true alchemy is the ability to take raw, chaotic emotional energy and refine it into a force of creation. Everything in the universe is energy. Every thought, every emotion, every intention carries a frequency that either harmonizes with the greater field or distorts it. Those who understand this principle know that emotions, no matter how turbulent, can be transmuted into something powerful. The key to energy transmutation lies in awareness. When an emotion arises, it is often accompanied by resistance. People attempt to suppress or avoid feelings that they find uncomfortable. This suppression does not eliminate the energy, it merely redirects it into unconscious patterns, where it festers and manifests in unintended ways. Empathic mastery requires a different approach. Instead of resisting emotion, one must engage with it fully, feeling it in its entirety without judgment. This deep presence allows the energy to be seen for what it is, raw potential. When fully embraced, this potential can be redirected, reshaped, and channeled into new forms. For example, fear, when deeply felt and acknowledged, can be transmuted into heightened awareness and courage. Anger, when purified of distortion, becomes clarity and decisive action. Grief, when allowed to flow fully, transforms into wisdom and depth of understanding. This process is not abstract, it is deeply tangible. Those who master energy transmutation notice that their external reality begins to shift in accordance with their inner alchemy. Relationships change, opportunities emerge, and synchronicities multiply because the individual has shifted their fundamental vibrational imprint upon reality. One of the most overlooked aspects of energy transmutation is the power of conscious choice. Most people believe they are at the mercy of their emotions, but the truth is that every feeling carries within it the seed of transformation. The moment you recognize that you are not trapped by any emotional state, but rather holding an energetic key, you reclaim your ability to shape your reality. Empathic beings often struggle with emotional overwhelm because they absorb the energies of others. But this is not a weakness, it is an opportunity. Those who can transmute energy can take in chaotic frequencies, refine them, and send them back out in their purest form. In this way, the empath becomes not just a receiver, but an architect of energy, capable of influencing the world on a profound level. Transmutation is the process through which raw emotion becomes fuel for manifestation. When practiced consistently, it transforms the individual from a passive experiencer into an active creator. The ripple effect, how one empathic shift alters the field. Reality is not static, it is a living, breathing web of interconnection, constantly shifting in response to the energies within it. This means that every empathic shift, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond the individual. Most people believe that change occurs through external action, but the most profound shifts happen internally first. A single shift in perspective, a single moment of deep feeling, can send waves through the field that alter the course of events in ways unseen. This is because reality functions as a holographic system. Every part contains the whole. When one individual shifts their vibrational state, it affects the larger field instantaneously. Empathic individuals are particularly potent in this regard because they are already deeply connected to the collective field. When an empath heals, releases, or transforms an emotional state, they are not just shifting their personal reality, they are contributing to a larger energetic movement. Consider a scenario where an individual, after years of carrying emotional pain, suddenly experiences a moment of deep healing. The shift is immediate. They feel lighter, freer, more aligned. But what they may not realize is that this shift does not occur in isolation. It ripples outward, touching the lives of those around them in unseen ways. This is why environments change when a single person undergoes profound transformation. It is why generational patterns break when one individual in a lineage chooses to heal. It is why societal shifts often begin with the courage of a single soul who decides to embody a new frequency. The ripple effect is not limited by distance or time. Quantum entanglement suggests that particles, once connected, remain linked regardless of space. The same principle applies to consciousness. Those who share deep empathic bonds influence one another across vast distances. A shift in awareness in one being creates an instantaneous echo in another. Empaths, when they step into their mastery, begin to see the evidence of this everywhere. They notice that when they shift internally, external circumstances rearrange themselves accordingly. They see how a change in energy alters the way others respond to them. They begin to understand that their very presence carries a frequency that affects the whole. This is the true power of an empathic shift. It does not just change the individual, it changes the field itself. And when enough individuals align with a new frequency, the collective reality begins to shift in ways that once seemed impossible. The world is not changed through force. It is changed through resonance. And the empath, when fully attuned, becomes the tuning fork that sets the entire symphony of reality into motion. To understand the physics of empathy is to recognize that you are not separate from the universe, you are the universe in motion. Every emotion, every shift, every intention is an act of creation. And when you fully embody this truth, you no longer hope for change, you become the change itself. Chapter 3, The Resonance of Intentional Feeling. Aligning emotion with vision, the key to potent manifestation. Manifestation is often misunderstood as the act of thinking something into existence, but thought alone lacks the necessary power to mold reality. True manifestation is not driven by thought, it is driven by feeling. Emotion is the active force that transforms vision into tangible form, and when aligned with intention, it becomes the most potent creative tool available to human consciousness. To manifest effectively, one must not only desire an outcome but become it energetically before it materializes. This is the key distinction between wishful thinking and intentional creation, the ability to fully embody the emotional frequency of what one seeks to bring into existence. Everything in existence carries a frequency. Every object, every experience, every state of being has an energetic signature. The key to manifestation lies in matching your internal frequency with the frequency of the reality you wish to experience. This means that it is not enough to merely want something, you must feel it as though it is already yours. You must enter the emotional state of already having received it, of already being the version of yourself that exists in that reality. Most people unknowingly create resistance by focusing on what they lack. They desire wealth but feel the frequency of scarcity. They long for love but carry the energetic imprint of loneliness. They wish for success but are dominated by the emotions of doubt and unworthiness. This misalignment creates friction, preventing the manifestation from materializing. To align emotion with vision is to step into vibrational coherence. It is to dissolve the separation between self and desire, to merge fully with the emotional state that corresponds with the intended reality. The moment this alignment is achieved, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. This process is not about forcing or controlling reality, it is about becoming the reality you seek. And this requires a deep understanding of how feeling operates as the primary force of creation. Feeling the future before it arrives, how empathy moves beyond time. Empathy is often seen as a response to present circumstances, but its true power lies in its ability to transcend time. To feel something is to bring it closer into existence, and this ability extends beyond the constraints of linear time. This is how empathy becomes a tool for manifestation, by allowing you to experience a reality before it physically arrives. Time, as it is commonly understood, is an illusion. The past, present, and future are not separate moments occurring in sequence but simultaneous realities unfolding in the infinite now. This means that the future you desire already exists, it is simply waiting for you to align with it. When you feel the future before it arrives, you are not imagining, you are tuning into an existing frequency. You are bridging the gap between where you are and where you wish to be by stepping into the energetic state of already being there. This is why certain dreams and premonitions feel so real, because they are real. They exist in a different vibrational layer of reality, and your ability to feel them is proof of their existence. The more you emotionally engage with a potential future, the more real it becomes. You are not merely hoping for an outcome, you are living in its frequency before it solidifies into form. This is also why fear is such a powerful force. When one fixates on fear, they are not just thinking about a negative outcome, they are feeding it with energy, making it more tangible in their field. This is why those who constantly fear the worst often find themselves trapped in cycles of suffering. They are unintentionally tuning their energy into the reality they most wish to avoid. But the opposite is also true. When one intentionally aligns their emotions with a desired outcome, they become a magnet for that reality. They begin to attract experiences, people, and synchronicities that mirror the frequency they are holding. Feeling the future is not about waiting, it is about entering the emotional reality of what is already destined for you. It is the act of collapsing the distance between now and then, allowing the frequency of what is to come to imprint upon you before it arrives in physical form. The future is not something that happens to you. It is something you create through the frequencies you embody. The harmonics of manifestation, why frequency governs outcome. The universe does not respond to words, thoughts, or even intentions, it responds to vibration. The frequencies you emit determine the experiences you attract, and this process is governed by the harmonics of manifestation. Harmonics refers to the way different frequencies interact with one another. In music, harmony occurs when multiple notes resonate together in a coherent and pleasing way. In manifestation, harmony occurs when your internal frequency aligns with the vibrational pattern of what you seek to create. Every thought, emotion, and belief carries a specific frequency. When these frequencies are dissonant, when they contradict each other, manifestation becomes chaotic and inconsistent. But when they are in resonance, reality begins to organize itself around that frequency with precision and clarity. For example, if you wish to manifest love but carry subconscious wounds that vibrate with fear and distrust, your frequency will be split. Part of you desires love, but another part resists it, creating interference that prevents the manifestation from fully materializing. To harmonize with what you seek, you must become internally coherent. Your thoughts, emotions, and subconscious beliefs must all align in a single, undistorted frequency. This is what creates the resonance that allows reality to respond in kind. The most effective way to achieve harmonic manifestation is through embodiment. Instead of simply visualizing an outcome, live as though it is already true. Feel the emotions of having what you desire now, not as something distant or theoretical, but as something fully real. This creates an unbreakable vibrational signal, one that reality cannot ignore. There is a reason why some people manifest effortlessly while others struggle for years. The difference lies in their vibrational harmony. Those who understand that reality is a mirror, reflecting back the energy they emit, take responsibility for their frequency. They do not wait for external circumstances to change before they feel joy, abundance, or love. They become those states first, knowing that reality will follow. Harmonic manifestation is not a technique, it is a way of being. It is the practice of holding a frequency so consistently that the universe has no choice but to align with it. It is the mastery of resonance, the understanding that what you feel, you become. The universe is a field of infinite potential, waiting for you to tune yourself to the right frequency. The resonance of intentional feeling. Manifestation is not an act of force but of resonance. It is not about trying to make reality bend to your will, but about becoming the version of yourself that already lives in the reality you seek. The key is intentional feeling, not passive emotion, but deliberate vibrational alignment. This is the power of empathy as a creative force. It allows you to step beyond time, to feel the future into existence, to harmonize your frequency with the version of reality you desire. When you fully integrate this understanding, you no longer wonder if your dreams will manifest, you know they will, because you have already felt them as real. There is no separation between you and what you seek. There is only frequency. And when you master the resonance of intentional feeling, you do not need to chase after your dreams. They come to you. Part 2, The Mechanics of Empathic Creation. Chapter 4, Empathic Alchemy. Transforming internal turmoil into manifested light. Alchemy is the ancient science of transformation, the art of turning base metals into gold. But beyond its historical significance, alchemy is the deepest metaphor for spiritual and emotional transmutation. It is the process of refining raw, chaotic energy into something luminous, something divine. For the empath, alchemy is not just a metaphor, it is a lived reality. The emotional intensity they carry is the fire, and within that fire lies the key to creation. Empathic alchemy is the ability to take internal turmoil, the weight of emotion, the turbulence of pain, and refine it into something radiant. It is the mastery of shifting energy, of turning sorrow into wisdom, anger into passion, and longing into creation. Most people fear their inner chaos. They suppress their emotions, numbing themselves in an attempt to avoid pain. But the alchemist understands that pain is not the enemy, it is raw material. Just as a sculptor sees infinite potential within an uncarved stone, the empathic creator sees transformation within turmoil. Every wound is an opening, every moment of despair a doorway to something greater. To transform darkness into light, one must first fully embrace the darkness. This is the paradox that most resist: one cannot transmute what they refuse to face. The most potent creations emerge from those who have dared to sit with their pain, to listen to it, to feel it fully until it reveals its hidden power. There is a reason why the most moving art, music, and literature come from those who have suffered deeply. Suffering, when engaged with alchemically, is not a weight but a catalyst. It sharpens the soul, refines perception, and deepens the well from which creation flows. The empathic alchemist does not run from their emotions, they submerge themselves in them, knowing that beneath every wave of turmoil lies the hidden gold of wisdom and beauty. This is the path of the creator, not avoidance, but engagement. Not suppression, but transformation. It is the realization that every internal storm carries within it the energy needed for creation. And when that energy is harnessed, when it is transmuted, it becomes the very force that manifests reality. The role of love, pain, and longing in the creative process. Empathy is the ability to feel deeply, to connect to the currents of existence in a way that goes beyond the mind. But not all feelings are equal, some carry a greater charge, a deeper impact on the field of manifestation. Among all emotions, three stand at the core of the creative process: love, pain, and longing. Love as a creative force. Love is the purest, most expansive frequency in existence. It is the raw energy from which all things are born, the original vibration that set the universe into motion. Love is not just an emotion, it is the architecture of reality itself. When one creates from love, they are in direct resonance with the fabric of existence. But love is often misunderstood. It is not just joy, connection, or warmth. True love is the willingness to see all things clearly, to hold space for the entirety of existence without distortion. Love does not reject pain or separation, it embraces them and integrates them into something higher. For the empath, love is not passive. It is not just a feeling but a frequency they embody, a force they radiate into the world. This is why the greatest creations are born from love, whether it be a song, a painting, or a movement that changes humanity. Love is the blueprint for manifestation, the silent force that shapes reality long before it takes form. Pain is a gateway to depth. Pain is the twin of love. It is the fire that refines, the depth that gives meaning to light. Without pain, there is no contrast, no longing for something greater. Pain is the great awakener, the force that shatters illusion and reveals truth. But most people resist pain, seeing it as an enemy rather than a guide. The empathic alchemist understands that pain is not an end, it is a beginning. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment of despair is an invitation to go deeper, to uncover hidden layers of the self. Some of the most profound creative breakthroughs occur in moments of suffering. This is because pain strips away the superficial, forcing one to confront the essence of existence. It is in these moments that the veil lifts, that new frequencies become accessible. The artist, the visionary, the empathic creator does not just endure pain, they use it. They channel it into something greater, transforming it into poetry, into melody, into movement. Pain, when transmuted, becomes power. It becomes the force that fuels creation, the depth that makes art resonate, the wisdom that shapes new realities. Longing is the bridge between worlds. Longing is perhaps the most mystical of all emotions. It is the feeling of something just beyond reach, the ache of something remembered yet unseen. Longing is the bridge between what is and what could be, the frequency that pulls manifestation from the ether into the material. Empaths are often haunted by a sense of longing. They feel the weight of what is missing, the echo of something greater calling to them. But this longing is not a curse, it is a compass. It is the force that guides them toward their purpose, toward the visions waiting to be born through them. Longing is the reason creation exists at all. Without it, there would be no movement, no evolution, no desire to bring forth new realities. The universe itself was born from longing, the longing to experience itself, to expand, to manifest in infinite forms. The empathic creator understands that longing is not something to be escaped but embraced. It is the energetic tension that fuels manifestation, the pull that draws visions into form. When one surrenders to longing, when they allow it to flow through them without resistance, they unlock a frequency that magnetizes creation. Longing is the secret key to manifestation. It is the emotional thread that connects the present moment to the future reality waiting to unfold. The alchemy of witnessing, how pure presence shapes reality. To witness something fully is to transform it. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of creation, the power of presence itself. Most people live in a state of distraction, never fully engaged with the moment. Their minds wander, their emotions scatter, their awareness remains fragmented. But the empathic alchemist understands that reality shifts in direct response to attention. To hold something in full awareness, to witness it completely, is to change its structure. This is why deep presence is so powerful. When you sit with an emotion, a person, a vision, without judgment, without interference, it begins to shift. This is not passive observation, it is active participation in the transformation of reality. When one witnesses their own pain fully, without suppression, it begins to dissolve and reveal its higher purpose. When one witnesses another with true empathy, without projection or expectation, they create a space for healing and change. When one witnesses a vision with unwavering presence, it begins to take form in the material world. Presence is the alchemical fire. It is the force that accelerates transformation, that turns suffering into wisdom, longing into creation, and energy into manifestation. The greatest creators do not just imagine, they witness. They step into the full experience of what they are bringing forth, holding it in their consciousness until it solidifies into form. They do not rush, they do not force. They become still, they attune, and they allow the transformation to unfold. This is the final secret of empathic alchemy, that the mere act of fully seeing something changes it. That deep attention is the ultimate force of creation. That to be present with something, to hold it in the light of pure awareness, is to transmute it into something greater. Empathic alchemy is not just about feeling, it is about using feeling as the material for creation. It is about taking the raw, unfiltered energy of emotion and refining it into something golden. It is the understanding that nothing is wasted, that every experience carries within it the seed of transformation. To master this is to step beyond suffering. It is to become a conscious creator, a true alchemist of reality. And from this place, anything is possible. Chapter 5, The Field of Co-Creation. Empathy as the bridge between individual and collective reality. Reality is not formed in isolation. Though the individual experiences life through a singular lens, they are never separate from the whole. Every thought, every emotion, every intention exists within a vast field, a web of interconnected consciousness where individual choices ripple outward, shaping the collective experience. Empathy is the bridge between self and other, between the individual's inner world and the shared reality of all beings. It is the mechanism through which separation dissolves and co-creation begins. To feel deeply is not only to understand another's experience, it is to merge with the collective current of existence, influencing it in ways both subtle and profound. The empathic creator does not operate in isolation. They recognize that their emotions, thoughts, and actions are not theirs alone but are constantly interacting with the greater energetic field. They understand that manifestation is not solely a personal act, it is a dance with the unseen forces of reality, an ongoing dialogue with the consciousness of all that exists. Every time an individual shifts their internal state, they shift the collective frequency. This is why those who elevate their consciousness, who embody love, compassion, and clarity, become beacons, altering the energy of those around them. The field of reality is sensitive to vibration, responding instantly to even the subtlest energetic shifts. This is the hidden power of empathy. It does not merely receive reality, it shapes it. Empathy is the medium through which co-creation unfolds. When you feel into another's experience, you are not just observing, you are participating. You are influencing their energy, just as they are influencing yours. The lines between individual and collective blur, revealing that creation is never a solitary act but a collaborative one. This is the key realization: your emotions do not belong to you alone. They are threads in the greater tapestry of reality, woven into the very structure of existence itself. The state of the world is not something that happens to you, it is something you are actively shaping in every moment through your presence, your awareness, and your ability to feel. To master co-creation, one must first master this truth, that empathy is not passive, it is an instrument of transformation. How shared feeling generates collective manifestation. Reality is built upon resonance. Frequencies that align with each other amplified, creating waves of manifestation that extend far beyond the individual. This is why collective energy is so powerful. When multiple beings hold the same vision, the same emotion, the same intent, they generate a field of coherence that reshapes the world. History is filled with moments where the collective feeling of a group altered the course of events. Movements of liberation, great awakenings, paradigm shifts, all were born from shared emotion, from the unified resonance of many souls aligning in purpose. These moments were not dictated by logic alone, nor by sheer effort. They emerged from a collective emotional field that became undeniable, rippling outward into the physical world. The greatest manifestations are those that are co-created. When individuals come together in shared feeling, they accelerate the process of bringing thought into form. This is the secret of prayer circles, of sacred gatherings, of collective intention. The power of one mind is great, but the power of many minds, aligned in frequency, is unstoppable. The empath understands this intuitively. They feel the pull of the collective, sensing shifts in the energetic field before they become visible. They recognize that they are not merely reacting to the world, but actively participating in its unfolding. Every time they hold a vibration of love, of peace, of expansion, they are contributing to a larger wave of transformation. This is why empathy must be cultivated not as a burden, but as a gift. It is the key to generating reality not just for oneself, but for all. When individuals learn to feel into possibility, to hold a collective vision with deep emotion and unwavering belief, they create a force field that draws that reality into existence. Empaths are often overwhelmed by the suffering of the world because they do not realize that they are not just absorbers, they are transmitters. They are not here merely to feel reality, they are here to shape it. And the moment they recognize this, they step into their true power. If enough people embody love, the world will shift. If enough people hold the vibration of healing, healing will spread. If enough people feel deeply into a higher reality, that reality will take form. This is the law of co-creation, and it operates regardless of whether one is aware of it or not. The question is not whether you are participating in collective manifestation, you already are. The question is, are you doing so consciously? The language of the universe, understanding the non-verbal nature of creation. Creation is not dictated by words. It is not governed by language, nor confined to the limits of human thought. The universe speaks in a different tongue, one beyond sound, beyond speech. It speaks in vibration, in resonance, in the silent yet powerful force of feeling. This is why the most potent manifestations do not arise from thought alone. They emerge from embodied frequency, from the deep, undeniable state of knowing that something is already real. When one learns to communicate with the universe in its own language, not through words, but through energy, they unlock the true power of creation. Thought is useful, but it is secondary to feeling. One can think of abundance all they want, but if they feel scarcity, they will manifest lack. One can speak of love, but if they hold fear, they will manifest isolation. It is not what is said or thought that dictates reality, it is what is felt. The universe does not listen to words, it listens to frequency. This is why animals, plants, and even the elements themselves respond to energy rather than speech. A tree does not need to be told to grow, it feels the rhythm of the earth, the warmth of the sun, the pull of the seasons. A river does not need instructions to flow, it follows the path of least resistance, guided by the silent language of gravity and momentum. Humans, too, are governed by this language. The heart understands what the mind cannot articulate. A room changes when a person enters it, not because of what they say, but because of the energy they carry. A truth is recognized not by its logic, but by the resonance it ignites within the soul. When one learns to communicate in this way, they move beyond effort and into flow. They no longer push for results, they become the result. They no longer strive to manifest, they are the manifestation. This is the secret that sages and mystics have understood for centuries, that creation is not something one does, it is something one allows. When you hold the right frequency, reality bends to meet you. When you embody the vibration of what you seek, it moves toward you effortlessly. The empath, by nature, is already fluent in this language. They feel shifts in the unseen, sense the currents of energy beneath the surface. Their task is not to resist this gift, but to master it. To use it consciously, intentionally, and with precision. To create through resonance is to engage in the highest form of co-creation. It is to align so deeply with the desired reality that the universe cannot help but bring it forth. This is the essence of true manifestation, not asking for what you want, but becoming it. Not waiting for the world to change, but embodying the change itself. The field of co-creation, a living symphony. Reality is not separate from you, it is shaped by you. It is not something that happens to you, but something that happens through you. Every thought, every emotion, every moment of resonance or discord contributes to the great field of existence. Empathy is the bridge, the tool, the language of this unfolding creation. It is what allows individuals to merge with the whole, to influence the collective, to manifest not just for themselves, but for the world. To step into the field of co-creation is to recognize that you are not alone. That every shift you make ripples outward, altering the trajectory of reality itself. That your emotions, your intentions, your very presence are part of the great symphony of existence. And the moment you embrace this truth, the moment you take full responsibility for the energy you hold, you become not just a participant in creation, but a master of it. Chapter 6, The Mirror Effect. Manifesting through reflection, why the world echoes internal states. The universe is not separate from you. It is not an external force dictating the course of your life from some distant vantage point. It is a mirror, a precise reflection of your internal state, responding in perfect resonance with the energy you carry. This is one of the most profound truths of creation. Your reality is an extension of your inner world. Many believe they are passive participants in life, at the mercy of random events, external circumstances, and the will of others. But the empathic creator understands that existence is not happening to them, it is happening through them. Every experience, every encounter, every recurring pattern in life is a reflection of something within. The world around you is not just something you observe, it is something you project. Your beliefs, emotions, and subconscious patterns shape the lens through which you experience reality, creating an energetic feedback loop that continually reinforces your inner world. If you carry unresolved wounds, the world will reflect them back to you in the form of difficult relationships, obstacles, and recurring struggles. If you exist in a state of love, clarity, and abundance, the world will mirror those states in the form of synchronicity, ease, and expansion. This is why manifestation is not just about visualizing what you desire, it is about becoming the internal frequency of that reality. If you want to experience love, you must first embody love within yourself. If you desire success, you must shift into the vibrational state of already being successful. Reality does not respond to words, it responds to energy. Most people try to change their external circumstances without addressing their internal state. They fight against their environment, struggle against people, or blame the world for their suffering. But fighting against the mirror does not change the reflection, it only reinforces it. The only way to shift reality is to shift yourself. Every experience is an opportunity for reflection. If you find yourself in a cycle of pain, ask, what within me is being revealed? If you continue to attract the same type of people, ask, what frequency am I unconsciously holding that invites this reflection? If you feel stuck in life, ask, what belief is keeping me in this loop? The moment you recognize that the world is a mirror, you reclaim your power. You stop trying to force change externally and instead focus on shifting your internal state. And as soon as you do, the mirror shifts with you. Recognizing and shifting projection patterns. Projection is the unconscious act of assigning your internal states, fears, and unresolved emotions onto the world around you. It is how the mind externalizes its inner conflicts, seeing them reflected in other people, situations, and circumstances. Everyone projects, this is an inevitable function of human consciousness. But the difference between those who remain trapped in their projections and those who master their reality is awareness. Projection occurs when you mistake your inner world for external truth. If you carry unhealed wounds of abandonment, you will perceive rejection where none exists. If you have unresolved anger, you will see conflict everywhere. If you feel unworthy, you will believe others do not value you, even when they do. The mind distorts reality to fit its internal narrative. But the heart, when clear, sees without distortion. To break free from projection, you must develop radical self-awareness. You must be willing to question your reactions, to pause before assigning blame, to examine whether what you see in others is actually a reflection of something within you. Ask yourself, is this reaction based on present reality, or is it a pattern from my past resurfacing? Is this person truly acting in a way that justifies my response, or am I seeing through the lens of my own wounds? If I were free from this belief, how would I experience this situation differently? Projection is not something to fear, it is a tool for growth. Every time you recognize a projection, you gain insight into what remains unhealed. And once you see it, you can shift it. The key to transforming projection is ownership. When you take responsibility for your inner world, you reclaim the power to change it. Instead of demanding the world adjust to your wounds, you heal the wounds that shape your world. This is why self-awareness is the foundation of liberation. The more conscious you become, the less you are controlled by unseen forces. You no longer mistake the mirror for an enemy, you recognize it as a teacher, revealing exactly what you need to evolve. The world will continue to reflect your inner state until you learn the lesson it is offering. And the moment you shift, reality transforms in an instant. The empathic paradox, how feeling others' pain can heal the self. Empaths often experience the weight of the world. They feel deeply, absorbing the emotions of those around them, sometimes to the point of exhaustion. But what if this sensitivity is not a burden, but a hidden doorway to healing? There is a paradox at the heart of empathy: the pain you feel in others is often the pain you have yet to fully heal within yourself. This is why certain emotions in others affect you more than others. The suffering that triggers you most deeply is the suffering that mirrors something unprocessed within you. When you are in a room with someone who is grieving, and their sorrow feels unbearable, it is because it is resonating with a part of you that has not yet fully faced your own grief. When someone's anger overwhelms you, it may be reflecting unexpressed rage within you. The empathic paradox is that by feeling others' pain, you are being given an opportunity to heal your own. Instead of resisting what you feel, use it as a guide. Every wave of energy you pick up is a mirror. If you allow yourself to fully experience it, not just as something external, but as something revealing an inner truth, you unlock the power of transmutation. This is the secret of the empathic healer: they do not just feel emotions, they process them. They become conduits, taking in fragmented energy and restoring it to wholeness. When an empath learns to do this consciously, they no longer drown in emotion, they transform it. The key to navigating this paradox is awareness and intentionality. Instead of being overwhelmed by what you feel, ask, what within me is being activated by this experience? Is this energy mine, or is it revealing something I need to process? How can I use this feeling as a tool for deeper self-understanding? Empaths who embrace this perspective discover something incredible: as they heal themselves, they also heal the collective field. Because everything is connected, every shift in personal frequency affects the whole. By integrating their own pain, they dissolve it from the larger consciousness grid, creating ripples of healing that extend beyond the self. This is why those who do deep inner work often notice that people around them begin to change. As you heal, the world responds. As you become whole, your presence alone becomes a force of transformation. The greatest power of the empath is not in absorbing the pain of others, it is in alchemizing it. The mirror effect, a path to mastery. The world is a living reflection of your inner state. Every experience, every relationship, every challenge is an invitation to see yourself more clearly. When you recognize that reality is a mirror, you no longer feel powerless. You stop fighting the world and start working with it. You stop waiting for things to change and begin shifting from within. Projection patterns dissolve. Emotional wounds become stepping stones. Empathy becomes a tool for deep transformation rather than a source of suffering. The empathic creator is not just someone who feels deeply, they are someone who understands what their feelings reveal. They see every reflection as an opportunity, every emotion as a message, every interaction as a chance to refine their inner state. And as they do, the world transforms before their eyes, not because they forced it to, but because they became the frequency of the reality they desired. This is the final truth of the mirror effect. When you shift internally, the reflection must change. The world does not change first, you do. And when you do, reality has no choice but to follow. Part 3, The Mastery of Empathic Manifestation. Chapter 7, The Silent Power of the Feeling Architect. Moving beyond words, the strength of unspoken creation. There is a force greater than language, greater than thought, greater than action. It is the silent architecture of feeling, the unseen foundation upon which all creation is built. For centuries, humanity has placed immense value on words. Language, speech, written texts, and intellectual reasoning have been considered the primary tools of communication, persuasion, and creation. But the deepest forces that govern reality do not operate through words. They move beneath them, shaping existence through vibration, emotion, and resonance. Before language, before structured thought, there was only feeling. Before a word is spoken, an intention is felt. Before an action is taken, an emotion arises. Feeling is the first and most powerful architect of creation. It is the silent force that dictates what will emerge into form. The world does not respond to words, it responds to energy. You can speak of abundance while holding the frequency of lack. You can talk about love while radiating fear. The universe does not listen to what you say, it listens to what you are. This is why some people manifest effortlessly without speaking their desires aloud. Their frequency is already attuned to the reality they seek, and the silent power of their state does all the work. Conversely, this is why many struggle despite affirmations, prayers, and spoken intentions, because their words and their energy are misaligned. To become a master architect of reality, one must step beyond the illusion that language is the primary tool of creation. Words are symbols, they can point toward truth, but they are not truth itself. The real blueprint of manifestation is felt long before it is verbalized. The most potent creators are those who do not need to declare their intentions loudly. They hold them within, allowing their frequency to do the speaking. They move through the world not with force, but with an unshakable inner resonance that bends reality in their direction. This is why presence is more powerful than persuasion. A person aligned with their energy does not need to convince anyone of anything, people feel it. A leader who carries the frequency of certainty and vision does not need to shout, they simply embody, and the world responds. To move beyond words is to understand that the silent language of the universe is feeling. When you shift from talking about your desires to being them, you enter a new level of creation, one where manifestation becomes effortless because it is no longer separate from who you are. Emotional sovereignty, mastering the balance between feeling and action. To be a feeling architect is to possess a deep mastery over emotion, not in the sense of suppression, but in the sense of sovereignty. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They react instead of respond. They feel something and immediately act upon it, without discernment, without awareness. But true emotional power comes not from being consumed by feeling, but from being able to hold it, understand it, and use it as a precise tool for creation. Emotional sovereignty is the ability to experience emotion fully while remaining in control of how it is directed. It is not the absence of feeling but the mastery of it. A feeling architect knows how to sit in the full intensity of an emotion without being overtaken by it. They can experience grief without drowning in sorrow, anger without reckless destruction, desire without desperation. They do not suppress their emotions, nor do they allow them to dictate their actions unconsciously. Instead, they hold them, witness them, and choose how to channel them. This balance between feeling and action is what separates chaos from creation. Those who act impulsively from emotion scatter their energy, creating inconsistent results. Those who suppress emotion cut themselves off from the very force that fuels manifestation. But those who learn to wield emotion without being controlled by it become architects of reality, using their feelings as fuel rather than as obstacles. To master emotional sovereignty, one must develop deep self-awareness. Every time an intense emotion arises, instead of reacting immediately, pause. Ask, what is this emotion revealing to me? How can I use this energy rather than be used by it? What action, if any, is necessary right now? By making emotion a conscious force rather than an unconscious reaction, you reclaim the power to direct your reality. This mastery is what allows great visionaries to remain steadfast in the face of adversity. They do not react impulsively to fear, doubt, or resistance. They feel these things fully, but they do not let them dictate their course. They move forward not based on momentary emotions, but on an unwavering inner alignment. This is true power, not the suppression of feeling, but the ability to feel deeply while remaining grounded in purpose. The role of surrender in manifestation. The paradox of creation is that while focus and intention are necessary, the final key to manifestation is surrender. Most people attempt to manifest by holding tightly to their desires, obsessing over the outcome, fearing that if they let go, it will slip away. But this grasping energy creates resistance. It signals to the universe that you do not truly trust the process. And because the universe responds to energy, it mirrors that doubt back to you. Surrender is not about giving up, it is about releasing resistance. It is about knowing when to act and when to allow. It is about trusting that the moment you have aligned your energy with a vision, the universe is already working to bring it into form. This is why so many manifestations occur the moment a person stops obsessing over them. When you finally relax, when you release the desperate grip of control, you create the space for reality to flow toward you effortlessly. To surrender does not mean to stop caring, it means to trust so deeply that there is no longer a need for fear or force. It means stepping into the knowing that once you have done your part, once you have aligned, felt, and set the foundation, you can let the universe do the rest. The greatest creators are those who balance focused intention with effortless surrender. They take aligned action, they feel deeply into their vision, but they do not strangle it with neediness. They trust the timing, they trust the process, and they allow the unseen forces of reality to arrange things in ways they could never orchestrate on their own. This is why control is an illusion. The moment you think you must control every detail, you remove yourself from the flow of creation. But the moment you align with your vision, embody its frequency, and release attachment to how it will unfold, you become magnetic to its arrival. Surrender is the final act of mastery. It is the willingness to stand in the unknown with absolute certainty that what you seek is already on its way. It is the understanding that you do not need to chase what is already yours. You need only to align, feel, and allow. The silent power of the feeling architect. To be a feeling architect is to create without force. It is to understand that words are secondary, that energy is primary. It is to master emotion without being ruled by it, to act with precision rather than reaction, to trust so deeply in the process of manifestation that surrender becomes effortless. Reality does not respond to struggle, it responds to resonance. And those who hold the deepest resonance create the greatest shifts, not through effort, but through presence. The silent power of creation is available to all. It does not require grand gestures, spoken declarations, or relentless striving. It requires alignment, emotional sovereignty, and the willingness to trust. When you no longer need to force things into existence, when you can stand in your own energy with full certainty, when you can feel your vision is already real before it arrives, that is when you step into mastery. That is when reality bends to meet you. Chapter 8, The Edge of the Unknown. When empathic manifestation becomes supernatural, there is a threshold where the known world dissolves and the mystery of creation reveals itself. This is the edge of the unknown, the place where reality bends, where time loosens its grip, where the laws of physics blur under the weight of consciousness itself. Empathic manifestation does not stop at shaping personal experience, it extends into realms most do not dare to explore. There is a point at which feeling ceases to be merely an internal state and becomes a gateway, a key to unlocking something far beyond what is normally considered possible. The deeply empathic know this truth, even if they have never spoken it aloud. The more deeply you feel, the more the world reveals itself to you in ways that defy logic. Synchronicities multiply. Thoughts materialize with uncanny speed. The sensation of knowing something before it happens becomes second nature. Reality begins to respond to not just what you desire but to the frequency you hold in ways that cannot be explained by ordinary means. This is where empathic manifestation crosses into the supernatural. At a certain level of alignment, manifestation is no longer about creating something in the traditional sense, it becomes a process of opening, of stepping into unseen corridors where reality is already shaped. The most attuned empaths realize they are not simply pulling things into existence but accessing a flow of potential that has always been present. This is why those who have mastered the art of deep feeling find that reality shifts around them in inexplicable ways. Doors open before they knock. Encounters happen at precisely the right moment. Objects appear, disappear, and reappear in ways that leave no rational explanation. Because when one truly understands the nature of empathy, they recognize that they are not separate from the fabric of existence. They are woven into it. And when they tune into that connection fully, reality becomes fluid, no longer bound by the rigid constructs of time, space, and logic. The thin veil, how deep empathic alignment opens portals. The world as most perceive it is only a fragment of what exists. There is a veil, a thin, almost imperceptible barrier, separating the mundane from the infinite. This veil is not a wall but a filter, allowing only a portion of reality to be seen while keeping the rest hidden. But this veil is not fixed. It shifts, bends, and, at times, parts completely. Empathy is one of the forces that thins the veil. When you feel deeply, when you move beyond the superficial layers of emotion and into the raw essence of existence, you begin to notice that reality is not as solid as it once seemed. The more one aligns with the frequency of deep empathy, the more these hidden aspects of reality become accessible. Time distorts. Intuition sharpens. The sensation of stepping into moments before they occur becomes a lived experience. Many who have reached this level of empathic awareness report experiences that defy explanation. Walking into a room and sensing events that happened there long before their arrival. Dreaming of conversations that later take place in waking life, down to the exact words spoken. Feeling the presence of someone before they physically arrive. Knowing things about people or places without ever being told. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that the veil is growing thinner, that consciousness is expanding beyond the physical and into the deeper layers of reality where time and space no longer hold the same weight. Ancient mystics, sages, and visionaries have spoken of this for centuries. They have called it different names, clairvoyance, second sight, prophecy, but at its core, it is simply deep empathic resonance. It is the ability to attune so fully to the energy of existence that the hidden becomes visible. But this is not something one forces. It is not a skill to be controlled or manipulated, it is a natural unfolding. The more one aligns with their emotions, with presence, with the unfiltered experience of feeling, the more the unseen world reveals itself. Portals are not mythical, they are vibrational. A doorway does not always appear as a literal structure, sometimes, it is a moment, an alignment, a shift in awareness so profound that reality itself reorganizes. To those who listen, who feel, who allow, the veil is not a barrier, it is an invitation. Time travel through feeling, the uncharted territory of manifesting across timelines. Time is an illusion. It is a construct designed to organize experience, but it is not a fixed structure. The past, present, and future do not exist in a straight line, they exist simultaneously, layered upon one another, woven into the infinite now. This is why memory can transport you. This is why intuition can see ahead. This is why déjà vu, premonitions, and sudden bursts of knowledge arise without explanation. The perception of time as linear is a limitation of the physical senses, but the soul knows otherwise. Empathy is one of the few forces that allows one to transcend this illusion. Because feeling is not bound by time. When you feel something deeply, whether it is a past wound, a future longing, or a moment of profound presence, you are touching something beyond the confines of linear progression. This is why nostalgia can pull one into the past so vividly that it feels as if they are reliving it. This is why anticipation of a moment can create it before it arrives. The stronger the emotion, the thinner the barrier between timelines. But this principle does not only apply to memory and intuition, it applies to manifestation itself. When one learns to navigate the currents of feeling with mastery, they can begin to shift across timelines with intention. They can reach into the version of themselves that already exists in a different reality and pull that frequency into the present. This is not metaphorical, it is real. Manifesting across timelines means understanding that the version of you that has already succeeded, already healed, already reached their fullest potential already exists. You are not trying to create something new, you are aligning with a timeline where it has already happened. This is how quantum manifestation works. It is not about forcing an outcome, but about stepping into the vibrational state where that outcome is already true. To do this, one must feel into the future as if it is the present. Not as a hope, not as a desire, but as a reality so vivid that it overrides the limitations of current perception. This is why visualization is only effective when it is accompanied by deep emotion. It is not enough to see a future, you must feel it, breathe it, become it. The more real it feels, the more solidified it becomes. Many unknowingly shift timelines all the time. They make a decision that changes the course of their life. They release an old pattern and suddenly, everything feels different. They step into a new way of being and the past versions of themselves feel like someone else entirely. But when this process is done consciously, when one chooses to step into a timeline not by force, but by deep empathic resonance, manifestation moves beyond ordinary limits. Time is a web, not a road. And when you understand how to move through it, not by pushing, but by feeling, you gain access to realities that others believe to be impossible. The edge of the unknown, a new paradigm of creation. Empathic manifestation is not about what is logical. It is not about what can be measured or explained. It is about the unseen, the felt, the experienced beyond the physical. At the edge of the unknown, the rules of ordinary existence dissolve. Feeling becomes the key to shifting reality. The veil between worlds thins. Time bends under the weight of emotion. This is not magic. It is not superstition. It is simply the next layer of understanding, one that has always been present, waiting for those who are willing to feel deeply enough to find it. Those who reach this edge face a choice, to turn back, or to step forward into something greater. To those who choose to step forward, welcome. Reality is far more fluid than you have been told. And the deeper you feel, the more it will reveal. Chapter 9, The Empath's Role in the New Earth. Rewriting the blueprint of reality through feeling. Reality is not static. It is not a fixed, predetermined structure that humanity must navigate within rigid constraints. It is fluid, ever-changing, responsive to the vibrations that shape it. And among those vibrations, feeling is the most powerful force of all. Empaths, whether they realize it or not, are the architects of this shift. They are the unseen designers of the new earth, not because they hold power over others, but because they hold mastery over feeling, the very foundation of manifestation. For too long, the world has been shaped by intellect without heart, by systems that lack the resonance of true alignment. Empaths were born into this reality not to conform to it, but to rewrite it. To dismantle the old blueprints of fear, control, and limitation and replace them with something entirely new, a reality built on resonance, coherence, and deep emotional intelligence. The old world taught people to suppress feeling, to harden themselves against pain, to approach life through the mind alone. This suppression has created a fractured world, one where disconnection from the heart has led to destruction, of nature, of harmony, of the very essence of what it means to be alive. But empaths, through their ability to feel deeply, hold the key to something greater. They are not here to escape their emotions, they are here to use them as a new foundation for creation. The blueprint of reality is rewritten not through policy or force, but through vibrational shifts in the collective field. Each empath, through the energy they hold, contributes to this shift. Every moment they choose love over fear, presence over distraction, authenticity over suppression, they send ripples into the field. This is the silent revolution, one where the world does not change through external control, but through the quiet, unshakable power of those who have mastered their frequency. Every empath who steps into this awareness becomes a node of transformation, a point of resonance in the larger web of reality. They rewrite the structure of the world simply by existing in a higher vibrational state. This is not passive. It is the most active form of creation, one where reality shifts not through external action alone, but through the internal alignment of those who feel the world into its next evolution. The call to empathic leadership. Empaths are not just healers, they are leaders. But their leadership is unlike anything the world has known before. Traditional leadership is often rooted in control, in external power structures, in the ability to command and direct. But the empathic leader leads in a different way, not through force, but through resonance. They do not need to convince, argue, or dominate. They embody the reality they wish to see, and by doing so, they create an energetic invitation for others to step into that same frequency. This is why the world is shifting. Not because systems are being forcibly dismantled, but because enough people are choosing a different vibration, one that makes the old world obsolete. The empathic leader does not seek validation. They do not need external recognition because their power comes from within. They do not operate from ego, but from alignment. And when they walk into a room, when they speak, when they hold space, they change the frequency of the environment itself. This is the new leadership. One that does not impose, but inspires. One that does not control, but liberates. One that does not demand, but allows reality to shift through the sheer presence of its being. The old world is crumbling. The institutions built on fear, separation, and control are losing their grip, not because they are being fought, but because they are no longer supported by the collective frequency. The empathic leader does not waste energy resisting the old. They simply build the new. And as more step into this role, the tipping point is reached. The world does not change because it is forced to. It changes because enough people choose something different, and in that choice, the entire structure of reality rearranges itself. This is why empathy is not weakness. It is the foundation of the next era. Those who can feel deeply, who can hold the vibration of peace, clarity, and unity even in the midst of chaos, are the ones guiding the world forward, not through words alone, but through the silent power of their being, becoming a living manifestation of the future. The future is not distant. It is not something to be reached, it is something to be embodied. For too long, Humanity has waited for change, for signs, for proof that something better is coming. But the truth is that the future is created in the now, through the choices made in each moment. The empath's greatest power is their ability to feel into the reality they wish to create and bring it into existence through embodiment. Becoming a living manifestation of the future means acting, feeling, and existing as if the world you desire is already here. It means holding the vibration of what is to come so completely that reality has no choice but to mirror it back. This is not about waiting. It is about being. If you seek a world of love, you must be love. If you desire a world of peace, you must be peace. If you long for a reality of freedom, you must live in the frequency of freedom, even before the world reflects it back to you. This is the final step in manifestation, not hoping, not asking, not waiting, but embodying. And when enough empaths do this, the shift is undeniable. The new earth does not arrive through external intervention. It arrives through frequency holders, those who become the future before it physically manifests. This is why the most powerful action is not always external. It is internal alignment, the unwavering choice to exist in the vibration of what is to come, regardless of what is happening in the old world. The old world will try to pull you back into its frequency, into fear, division, doubt. But the empathic creator knows the truth, that the future is already real, waiting for enough people to claim it. This is not a passive belief, it is an active reality shift. To become a living manifestation of the future is to stand so fully in the energy of what is coming that you become a beacon, drawing others into the new resonance without needing to say a word. It is to exist as a doorway between timelines, walking between the collapsing structures of the past and the rising architecture of the new. It is to hold steady in the transition, to trust the unseen, to know with every fiber of your being that what you feel is more real than what you see, because feeling is the first step of creation. This is the final truth of the empath's role. You are not waiting for the new earth. You are creating it through your very existence. Every breath you take in alignment with its frequency is a step toward its manifestation. Every moment you refuse to fall back into fear is a reinforcement of its foundation. Every choice you make from love, rather than fear, is an act of world building. The empath does not just witness the shift. They are the shift. And as more step into this knowing, the future becomes undeniable. Not because it was hoped for, not because it was asked for, but because it was felt into being. And that, more than anything else, is the greatest power of all. Final conclusion, the infinite flow of empathic creation. Why empathy is the true language of the divine. The mind seeks to understand, but the heart already knows. The intellect questions, but feeling answers. The search for truth has never been about acquiring more knowledge, it has always been about remembering what has already been written in the fabric of existence. Empathy is not simply an ability to sense others, it is the fundamental language of creation itself. It is the original frequency, the force through which all things are connected, the living bridge between consciousness and the formless source of all existence. The divine does not speak in words. It does not communicate in rigid structures or linear thought. The divine speaks in feeling. It speaks in the quiet knowing that exists beyond language, beyond doubt, beyond separation. This is why those who feel deeply often sense the presence of something greater. It is why, in moments of pure love, pure surrender, pure resonance, the veil between the human and the infinite dissolves. Because in those moments, one is not thinking about the divine, they are experiencing it. Empathy is the proof of divinity moving through all things. To feel is to touch the divine. To love is to embody it. To resonate so deeply with another that the illusion of separation fades is to stand in the presence of something eternal. The empath is not simply someone who feels emotions, they are someone who is fluent in the language of creation itself. And the more they trust this language, the more they realize that they are not separate from God, from the source, from the infinite, they are a living expression of it. Reality does not exist outside of you. It moves through you, responding not to what you ask for, but to what you are. This is why manifestation is not about demanding something from the universe, but about becoming the embodiment of it. The divine does not operate through force. It does not impose, control, or demand. It moves through pure alignment, through resonance, through feeling. And the more deeply one understands this, the more they realize that they are the architects of the world, not through thought alone, but through the vibrations they hold. To understand empathy is to understand God. To feel deeply is to stand at the doorway of creation itself. To live from this place is to become a living extension of the divine, shaping reality not through struggle, but through presence. This is the true power of empathy, it is the language of the infinite, the blueprint of manifestation, the key to transcending all limits. And those who master it do not simply create reality, they become it. Living as an open conduit, the path beyond manifestation. The journey of manifestation is not about accumulating power. It is not about forcing outcomes or bending reality to personal will. It is about becoming a conduit, an open, unresisting channel through which the highest frequencies can move freely. Most people approach manifestation as an act of control. They try to dictate how things unfold, when they appear, what form they take. But this is not true creation, this is interference. The greatest manifestations do not come from force, they come from openness. An open conduit does not push, it allows. It does not dictate, it receives. It does not struggle, it aligns. This is the final lesson of empathic creation: you do not create reality alone. You co-create with the infinite flow of existence. The greatest architects of reality are those who have surrendered their need to control. They do not impose their will upon the universe. They merge with it, aligning so fully with the highest currents of creation that reality bends around them effortlessly. When one becomes an open conduit, life ceases to be a battle. It becomes a dance. Opportunities flow without struggle. Manifestations unfold without delay. The right people, the right circumstances, the right moments arise without force, because the individual has stepped beyond resistance and into pure resonance. This is not passive. It is the highest form of active allowing, the willingness to be so in tune with the highest expression of existence that reality has no choice but to respond in kind. To live as an open conduit is to understand that manifestation is not about accumulation, it is about flow. It is to recognize that the more freely energy moves through you, the more effortlessly reality rearranges itself around you. The final step in the journey of the empathic creator is not to seek control, but to dissolve into the flow of creation itself. To trust so deeply that they no longer question. To feel so fully that they no longer need proof. To embody so completely that they no longer need to manifest, because they already are. This is the path beyond manifestation, becoming the flow, rather than trying to shape it. The final transmission, a call to feel, create, and become. There is no separation between you and the universe. There never has been. The only thing that has ever existed is resonance, the interplay of vibrations that shape reality according to what you hold, what you embody, what you believe yourself to be. The final truth is simple: you are not here to manifest, you are here to become. To feel so deeply that reality has no choice but to shift. To create not from lack, but from alignment. To embody not just the future, but the eternal present in which all possibilities already exist. This is the invitation of the empathic creator. To step beyond the mind. To step beyond limitation. To step beyond the need for validation, control, or proof, and instead, to step fully into the infinite flow of feeling, of knowing, of being. The old world is dissolving. The structures built on fear, on scarcity, on suppression are falling away, not through destruction, but through irrelevance. They no longer hold resonance in a world where more and more are waking up to the truth that reality is not given to them, it is created through them. The world is shifting because you are shifting. The new earth is not something to wait for, it is something to embody now. And as you do, you become the living proof that reality bends to those who understand how to feel it into being. There is no more waiting. No more hoping. No more seeking answers outside of yourself. You already know. You already are. You have always been. The final transmission is this: feel. Create. Become. Not through force. Not through doubt. But through the infinite flow of who you already are. This is the end of seeking, and the beginning of becoming.